Hi everybody, my name is Kyle Roth and I'm a teacher at the Minnesota State Academies for the Deaf. I teach children in the early childhood program who are deaf or hard of hearing using American Sign Language as their mode of communication. The disability that I chose is Charge Syndrome, C-H-A-R-G-E, each of those letters representing a specific physical feature of the disability. And I chose Charge because even though it's a rare disability that happens only 1 in every 10,000 births. While teaching here at the Minnesota State Academies for the Deaf, I've had several students who have Charge syndrome that I've taught, that I've worked with in after-school programs, that I'm currently teaching right now, and I really found that I didn't know very much about the disability. So I asked Dr. Darris if I could work on Charge syndrome, and he graciously said that I could, and I've learned so much. So I wanted to share with you just briefly some of the things that I've learned. As you'll look through the pamphlet, you'll learn cool thing about Charge syndrome. The sign is C to S like this, which the ASO sign for courage is like this. And that was done intentionally because they wanted to show from a community perspective that they are strong, that they are brave, that they are capable, and they can do wonderful things. And they've proven themselves time and time again to be very productive and active citizens in their community, which is wonderful. So let me just quick walk you through this, some of the points, and I won't go through everything because I want you to learn more about it on your own. So the reason Charge is named for what it is each one of those letters represents a specific physical feature. C is a coloboma of the eye, which happens 80 to 90% of kids. H represents the heart, which affects 75 to 85%. The atresia of the coni, which is the inner part of the nose. There's R is retardation of growth, so they tend to be shorter on the height scale. G is genital underdevelopment, which affects 50% of males, 25% of females. And then interesting part is that over 90% of the kids will not, male or female, will not go through puberty without specific hormone intervention. So that was an interesting tidbit. And then E is finally the ear, which affects then their hearing. So it affects the physical outer ear, what it looks like, the inner ear, or middle ear, and the inner ear. So and the semicircular canals, which can affect their balance. So these kids tend to be wobbly or look tipsy as they're walking around because they don't have that semicircular canal, which provides them the ability to have balance and know up from down and left from right and side to side and all that. So that was really interesting. So each of those is C-H-A-R-G-E. Some cool stuff. Over here I've got the specific developmental features, some of the concerns that parents and teachers should have, and some of the services that would need to be provided. And that covers their social emotional, their language, cognitive, physical, sensory needs, all of that. Biggest thing with Charge syndrome is that it affects vision, it affects hearing. So many of the kids are labeled who have Charge syndrome are deafblind. Educationally labeled as deafblind, culturally labeled as deafblind, meaning the communication modes, I mean, it varies. There's a huge variety. Some of them use spoken English. Some of them use American Sign Language, using a tactile sign language. Some of them use more in a gesture communication. Some of them just rely on facial expressions to communicate. Some of them use symbols. Some of them use PEC system, those exchange communication systems. And it varies from kid to kid, depending on what their hearing loss, vision loss is, what is available to them in their community for communication. It varies. And it's caused by a gene mutation. That was interesting to me. It's that it's nothing that the parent ever did wrong at all. It's complete sporadic gene mutation that just happens. And again, that's only in 1 in every 10,000 births. So if you're the lucky couple, then you learn how to help your child through this. As I said, as a community, from a cultural perspective, they label themselves as deafblind, and that's a sense of pride for them. Whether they choose ASL, choose English, whatever, it's a sense of pride being part of that deafblind community of people with similarities, similar traits as each other. And then the biggest thing of educational implications here, team members, assessment tools, interveners, which is very different from an aid, and you'll learn more about that in here, but an intervener is designed to help the child become their auxiliary eyes and ears, so they're designed to be with them for the rest of their life. Not the same person, of course, but to help them be successful people, whereas a classroom aid is more designed to back off and allow them to be more independent. But for this child, who will eventually be an adult, to be independent, that intervener is an absolute necessity. So it's very different. And it's not an interpreter. It's different. It's an intervener. And then some educational strategies as well in here too. And there's a lot more. I wanted to point this out to you. There's a lot more than what I could fit in here at the Charge Foundation, or Charge Syndrome Foundation. I highly, highly, highly recommend you check this out. It's got tons of resources and information for parents, teachers, everybody. And then on the back, I've got all of my resources for parents, many from the Charge Foundation, and then a few miscellaneous things as well. So, hope you're interested and intrigued in learning more about Charge Foundation, and I hope you're enjoying your Sunday and Grandparents' Day. All right. Thanks, everybody. Bye.